I woke to the silence of our bedroom. A silence so thick it felt like it was pressing against my chest. The bed beside me was empty, the sheets cold where she used to lie. I blinked at the faint morning light filtering through the curtains, my mind fumbling to make sense of the absence. At first, I thought maybe she had stepped out for coffee, or that I'd slept through her leaving. But then the phone rang, and her name flashed on the screen. "Honey, can we talk?" Her voice, once the melody of my mornings, was now brittle, distant, almost unrecognizable. My chest tightened. Something was off. I hung up before she could say more. I sat on the edge of the bed, listening to the slow, uneven rhythm of my own heartbeat. The thought that she might actually be gone, truly gone, was unbearable. But it wasn't just leaving. The note she left on the kitchen counter hit harder than any cold shoulder could. "I can't do this anymore. I need space. Don't try to find me." Space. That word replayed in my head like a cruel echo. I had ignored the small signs. The nights she came home late, the new perfume she didn't wear before, the way her laughter sometimes felt too rehearsed. I rationalized, told myself I was overthinking. I wanted to believe her. I still wanted to believe her. Days passed. She didn't return. She didn't answer texts or calls. I went through our home like a ghost, tracing her absence in the lingering warmth of her coffee mug, the forgotten scarf on the chair. I convinced myself that perhaps this was temporary, that she needed time to breathe, to remember us. Then came the call I hadn't expected. "I need help," she whispered, and for a second, I didn't recognize her voice. It was weaker than I'd ever heard, strained with vulnerability and desperation. "Where are you?" I asked, my throat tight. I can't say right now. Can you help me?" Something in me recoiled. My first instinct was caution, but the love I still had for her clawed me toward her voice. I drove through the night. Streets quiet except for the hum of my tires. My mind churned with questions, dread simmering beneath the surface. Where was she? What had happened? When I finally saw her, standing under a flickering streetlight with her hair tangled and her coat worn, I barely recognized the woman who had shared my life. There was an almost theatrical fragility in her stance, like a porcelain doll chipped and cracked. I lost everything," she said, voice trembling. "I ran out of money. I didn't know where else to turn." And then the truth began to unfold, piece by jagged piece. Her betrayal had started long before she left. Late nights at the office, unexplained withdrawals, whispered phone calls I never dared to question. The threads of her life outside ours had slowly tightened, straining the fabric of our marriage until it tore. I wanted to scream, to shake her until she admitted every secret, but the exhaustion and the residual love held me back. Instead, I simply watched as the woman I loved, and no longer fully knew, looked at me with pleading eyes. "Why?" I asked, voice breaking. "Why leave me for all of this?" My hands shook, gripping the steering wheel like it could anchor me to sanity. I thought I could handle it alone," she confessed. "I wanted more than what we had. I didn't mean to hurt you. But words felt useless. The betrayal wasn't something that could be undone by explanation. It was a wound etched deep into trust, a fracture I wasn't sure could ever be mended. We drove home in silence, the car filled with the weight of unspoken accusations and a fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, things could be salvaged. But as we stepped into the house, my heart sank. There were messages on the table, receipts, reminders of the life she had built while I was still trusting, still waiting. She looked at me, eyes glistening. I didn't know where else to turn. I needed you. I wanted to reach for her, to forgive, to pretend none of it had happened. But the truth sat between us like a silent observer. Betrayal isn't something that disappears just because someone calls it a mistake. It's a shadow that follows you, even into the light. I took a deep breath, my own voice steady, though my chest ached. "You left me when I needed you. You came back only when you had nothing. And you want me to what? Welcome you like nothing happened." Tears streaked her face. I don't know. I need you." Her desperation didn't absolve her. It didn't fix the nights I lay awake wondering where she was, what she was doing, who else she might have touched. Not physically, but with the part of her heart I thought was mine. I sat across from her in the living room. silence thick and suffocating. The clock ticked, each second a reminder of everything lost. And then, with a voice that surprised even me with its quiet resolve, I said, "I'll help you. But don't think this erases anything. Trust isn't given, it's earned. And right now you've got a long way to go." She nodded, a fragile glimmer of relief in her eyes. Relief that I hadn't rejected her outright. Yet unaware that every word I spoke was a thread in the web of suspicion and heartbreak she had spun. We spent the night talking, not like husband and wife, but as two people trying to navigate the ruins of a life they once shared. And somewhere between anger, sorrow, and lingering love, I realized the road ahead would be difficult, uncertain, and painfully honest. Betrayal had come to visit our home, uninvited and unwelcome. And while forgiveness might be possible one day, the scar of what she had done, and what I had endured, would linger like a shadow at dusk, refusing to fade. As she fell asleep on the couch, exhausted and vulnerable, I stared at the ceiling, heart heavy yet strangely alive. Some part of me wanted to hate her, to shut the door forever. But love, stubborn and complicated, refused to let me do that entirely. I whispered into the quiet, more to myself than to her. "I won't let you break me completely, but you'll never forget what you did." And in that moment I understood the truth. Betrayal can wound, but it also teaches. It strips illusions and demands clarity. And the next steps, whether toward reconciliation or final separation, would be mine to decide, with every ounce of honesty my heart could muster. If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'm aiming for 1,000 subscribers, and your support means the world. Every click helps me share more stories like this, exploring love, heartbreak, and the raw complexities of human emotion.